Welcome everyone to my review of another IDW Sonic one-shot special, Spring Broken. As always, before I continue, I will go ahead and place my spoiler warnings here. So yeah, Spring Broken, another seasonal themed special. I mean, why not? We already had Endless Summer, Winter Jam, and the Halloween special. Halloween being a major holiday in the fall season. Might as well complete the set. Though you might be wondering why I'm taking a look at a spring-themed comic right when summer is well underway. The answer is, it got delayed. Meanwhile, the sky is blue. There's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive right into the issue. Sonic and Tails arrive for the annual Spring Festival, which is pretty much a carnival celebrating the season. They're not the only ones here, as we get a cameo from Cream and her mother Vanilla, along with an appearance from Big the Cat. Tails says this is the busiest day of the festival, and it's all because of the annual Flower Frolic competition. At least that's what I assume based on the page layout. I could be wrong. It's a high-stakes event according to Amy, who just happens to be one of the judges. The other judge is Night the Owl, and he's using the opportunity to broadcast the competition over the radio. This year's competitors consist of Silver the Hedgehog, Ruff and Tumble, Espio the Chameleon, and Jewel the Beetle. So why is the Restoration leader involved in this contest? First, why not? Sometimes leaders are allowed to have fun, as Endless Summer proved. And second, it's more or less confirmed that Jewel is still running the Mineral Museum, because the prize for this year's Flower Frolic competition is this big old gem, and she wants it for her collection. The contest begins with Amy and Knight judging each of the entries. Once they get to Silver, everyone notices his plant is fire. Literally. Silver extinguishes the flames to prevent it from spreading, however it's too late for his own entry. Tails is perplexed about Silver's flower spontaneously catching on fire. This catches the attention of Vector the Crocodile. He volunteers to help Tails solve this mystery, and hopes to get a radio promo for the Chaotix out of this. Always going for the green, eh, Vector? Tails and Vector look at the crime scene for clues, and one of them just happens to be a burnt match. They start questioning everyone from fellow contestants to audience members. When they get to Don the Rooster, he did say he had a box of matches in his toolbox, but they recently went missing. That's when the culprit immediately revealed himself, Silver. His plant got sick after he arrived, and to make sure the other entries don't get infected, he deliberately burned his plant and pretended to be shocked by it. Something tells me he picked up the burning the plant thing from Blaze. So, that's that, right? Not quite. This causes Tails to question how Silver's plant got sick not long after arriving in the first place. Vector immediately discovers the answer. A trail of dirt along the ground. Only it's not dirt, it's herbicide. They spot someone near a dropped bag of the stuff, and they figure it's the culprit. They go after them, and Sonic tags along because he was itching for some action all day. The problem is, as Tails mentioned earlier, it's the busiest day of the festival, meaning finding the culprit amongst this crowd of people's going to be tough. Not to mention, they can be anyone. They make some progress when they run into Big, who has ice cream on top of his head. It wasn't his choice, by the way. The culprit caused it when they zipped past him, along with causing other messes and damaging some of the attractions. This means whoever did this is fast. Not as fast as Sonic, but fast nevertheless. Sonic, Tails, and Vector split off to do some damage control. While Sonic was doing some quick cleanup, some background characters spot the culprit. Before Sonic can pursue, he's stopped by a kid that had their balloon popped. Again, thanks to the culprit. It'll make sense soon. While Sonic helps the kid, Tails picks up the trail and flies upward to get a better vantage point. That's when he finally catches the perpetrator, Charmy. He explains he wanted to help Silver by feeding his plant some soil, but he didn't know it was Plant Killer. He ran away because he was scared people would be mad at him. Okay, it was an accident. It happens. But it still doesn't explain why there was Plant Killer in a flower contest. Vector then makes a comment about the labels being off. As Sonic looks closely at the labels, he discovers they were placed on the Plant Killer bags, and that they're sticky. That's when Tails and Vector get the idea to check every suspect's hands to see if there's label residue on them. And they found a match. Ruff. He put the soil labels on the plant killer bags in order to sabotage the competition. The smelly jerk really wanted that big gem. Ruff was hoping that all the other plants would get the herbicide, but Charmy accidentally feeding the herbicide to Silver's plant, and Silver having to burn it, kinda derailed things. Amy and Knight decided to punish Ruff for almost ruining the flower competition entirely by placing him in the dunk tank. Of course, Silver gets the honor of dunking the skunk, as he should. Once that's taken care of, the judges turn their attention to the remaining entries. The winner of this year's Flower Frolic competition is Espio. However, being the honorable guy that he is, he decides to donate the gem to the Mineral Museum. So Jewel got what she wanted after all. With the contest over and the day still young, everyone goes off to ride rides, play games, and eat some of that yummy carnival food. Like previous seasonal one-shots, the story is written by a writer new to IDW Sonic, Josh Trujillo. His works include writing for comics like the Rick and Morty series, some superhero comics, and he even dabbled in some video games. Now I'm going to operate under the assumption that he's a Sonic fan. At the very least, he's done his homework regarding the IDW Sonic series, as there are nods to Silver's gardening hobby that began in the 2019 annual, which continued in the 2022 annual, and here we are. Then there's Jewel in the Mineral Museum, Night the Owl and Dawn the Rooster from the radio station, Sonic's boredom when it comes to non-action stuff, and finally there's Ruff and Tumble's rhyming intros. Also like previous seasonal one-shots, it's a low-stakes story. Endless Summer had Sonic, Tangle, Whisper, and Jewel going against the Babylon Rogues for beach rights. The Halloween special had Sonic and Tails join the Chaotix in hunting down candy thieves, and Winter Jam had the heroes forced into a reality show competition by Orbot and Cubot, though the last one might be a little more high stakes given that a Chaos Emerald was involved. Now we have Tails and Vector investigating a saboteur during a flower competition. It's not often that these two would team up on something. In fact, this whole whodunit plot kinda reminds me of the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which also featured Tails as a detective. I can imagine this story being a point-and-click game where you have to interact with clues like the burnt match or the soil label on the herbicide bag, nice foreshadowing by the way. There's also questioning potential suspects and doing tasks while pursuing the culprit. And both this story and the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog had the perpetrator be a member of the Chaotix that was unwittingly manipulated by a more sinister third party. To be fair, there is a difference between an AI trained in league with Eggman and a cheater who won the grand prize. Not only do you feel bad for Silver, who obviously worked hard on his plant, but Charmy as well. He just wanted to help, but didn't know that the soil wasn't soil. Let's not get mad at him here. Like any kid his age, he ran away because he thought he was in trouble and people would get mad at him. Like I said, accidents and misunderstandings happen, and they did take it easy on Charmy when he confessed. And all that damage Charmy did as he ran away? Water under the bridge due to the fact that the stuff was fixable. If this story was inspired by a point-and-click adventure game in some fashion, I could see a shadowy silhouette of Charmy among the crowd as Sonic, Tails, and Vector deal with the damage. And yeah, the comic makes it clear who it is the moment we see this hidden shadowy figure. Gotta give props to Silver. When he thought his plant was sick and that it would spread, he destroyed it for the sake of the other entries. It shows here that he's willing to put others ahead of himself, even if it cost him the competition. His actions also derailed Ruff's plans for the other flowers. Yeah, the skunk was so desperate to win, it's implied that he would even sabotage his own brother's plant. I mean, Ruff was the only one who got caught sticky-handed. This was also briefly foreshadowed at an earlier point in the story. Was the dunk tank punishment enough? If it was a more serious crime, no. But considering all he did was ruin Silver's plant, and Silver delivering some payback, it's fine. At least back when he and Tumble took over a town using Wispins, they were properly punished upon defeat. And let's not forget the time they invaded the rabbit home and faced Vanilla's wrath for making Cream cry, among other things. Good thing the Skunk Brothers didn't run into the Rabbit family at some point during the festival, as far as we know. What I find interesting is that the flowers in general are a reflection of their grower. Espio is a ninja star, Jules resembles a bunch of gems, the Skunk Brothers look deformed, and judging by the aura, they might be kinda smelly, and Silver's, before it died, doesn't look as impressive compared to the others. But I think that's the point. He originally came from a future that was wrecked, and so by being in the past, he's learning to appreciate the simpler things in life, and his plant did reflect that. There's a lot of interesting background character designs in this special, courtesy of Adam Bryce Thomas. Some notable ones include this brown crocodile that's aping Vector's style. Or is he an alligator? I know there's a difference based on the snouts, but it's hard to tell with the art. Then we have this individual that looks suspiciously like Sonic's Uncle Chuck from previous continuities. Don't get your hopes up, people. It's probably just a shout out if nothing else. Of course, there are some coloring issues here and there, but when this issue goes to trade eventually, it'll probably be fixed. Spring Broken is an apt title. It's a play off the term spring break, a time where people, usually students, take some time off from stuff like school or work to relax. And this is kind of what's happening here. Our heroes are just hanging out and having fun away from their usual dealings with Eggman. The title could also work in the following ways. Spring could be a shout out to the fact that it's a common element in the Sonic games, and Broken, well, things did break in the story in more ways than one. In all seriousness, I did enjoy this slice of life tale. Like the other seasonal stories, it's actually good to, every once in a while, see what the heroes do when not dealing with a world-saving event. There are smaller conflicts, yes, but it's not so bad as to ruin things for everyone. With all the big plot progression stuff happening in the main book, sometimes we do need a break from the excitement and enjoy something more mundane. Wait. Tails' line here, solving crime by dinner time? Is that Mary-Kate and Ashley reference? Yeah, for those who don't know, they had a series where they were detectives, and that was their catchphrase. I remember having those old VHS tapes back in the day. Oh, I'm so old.